I think this would be a pretty awesome what?
Boss up, yeah, on my enemies. No, they talk about us, but they not like we. And I'm up right now.
What is up, everyone? My name is FMSorcerer. Ooh, and today, I'm just so excited. And that is because I have got a brand new idea for you guys. So basically, for a while, I've had this idea for Wiz where you could get a spell from other ways than just farming a boss or opening a pack, both of which cost time and money. I think it would be cool if there were a way to get a spell from gardening, or if there was a way to get a spell from other things like gardening, like fishing, or I don't know, maybe training up a pet. I know some pets give spells, but most of them are trash and you can't even enchant them, so it's kind of pointless to like, why? It would be lit if you could walk up to your plant, harvest, and have a chance at getting a very rare spell. I came up with this spell idea called Harvest Master. It is obviously a play on Lore Master. It is a life spell that deals 460 to 550 life damage, and then it gives the caster a plus 25% life damage blade, and then it bounces back 25% of the enemy's next spell. So basically what that means is it would hit, and then it would give you a blade, and then it would give you the shield, which basically is a bounce back, which if you guys don't know, bounce back was a spell that Wiz was always intending on implementing but never actually ended up putting into the game, and it would bounce back of the damage of the enemy spell. And some people may think that's a little bit broken, but bounce back was supposed to bounce back all of the damage of the spell that the enemy would use onto themselves. However, if Wiz ends up adding a spell similar to this, it would only bounce back 25%. Essentially, if somebody uses a spell that does like 1,000 damage, then that should only bounce back it's winter break, I don't have time for doing math. 250 damage. I knew that. And yeah, so that's really not a lot. It's not even half of what the enemy would have used, and this would be a very useful spell. I think it's something that life could definitely use. However, the reason I made the effects of the spell like this for Harvest Master is because I think that it's a spell that should be for multiple schools. I just didn't want to spend all the time making multiple versions, but I definitely could if you guys want me to. I don't know, just leave a like if you like this idea, and I can make variations of gardening lore spells for all of the different schools, and I can make future videos on those as well. However, I made Harvest Master like this in case Wiz ends up liking this idea, or just something like this is added to show that it can be for life. However, it's a lore spell, so anyone can use it. And of course, if the effects are that good, then maybe people would still want to use it. Maybe people would start rocking life masteries. Maybe the damage is universal instead of life damage, so that it doesn't matter that it's life damage and a fire or ice wizard isn't going to have life stats. It still would be a pretty good spell to have, because again, it's got this effect where it bounces back the damage, and it's 4 pips, so you can spam it. And I still don't think this is as broken as Lore Master. And when you have to say something like that, that's not okay. But I think this would be a pretty awesome what? I think this would be a cool thing for Wiz to implement, and really it's just a concept, you know. I think that Wiz should just consider adding something like this, where basically it gives you a chance, or gives people more reasons to want to garden. Now, a lot of people always ask, a lot of WizTubers, a lot of people who just have a lot of pet snacks in general, where did you get your mega snacks? Where did you get your mega snacks? We got them from gardening, or spending basically all of your life at Mirror's Lake. And who wants to do that? Basically, gardening is the answer. It is the way to getting more pet snacks. However, people still don't see that, and I think pretty much everyone loves spells. Spells are one of my favorite parts of Wiz, and whenever a new spell is added, people go for it. They are thirsty for that new spell, and I think that's pretty obvious with the additions of Reindeer Knight and Headless Horseman, that people love spells and they'll go for them no matter what. So if you add something where you can get a spell from gardening, but it's really rare, and it's like a 1% drop chance, but once you get it, you have something that not many other people have, and it's a really good spell, and you feel happy in that you've achieved something, then more people are going to farm for plants. They're going to buy plants from the crown shop shop. They're going to start gardening. I still hear people go, what is the point of gardening? What's so good about gardening? Gardening is better than monstrology, okay? I think that this will just give people more incentive to get into the gardening business and try it out. Like I said, there would be others for other schools. If this was something that Wiz would want to add, I would want them to make a version for all the different schools. Maybe not Balance, because they already have Lore Master, but if Balance were to have one, then that would be lit as well. I don't know what the names would be for the other schools. I was thinking for Fire that it would be something like Harvest Burner or Harvest Lighter or Harvest Blazer. I don't even know. Honestly, I think that the word harvest should be kept, if anything, because it implies that these are spells that you'd get from gardening. And again, these are basically gardening lore spells, so I think it should be kept to just gardening. It shouldn't be something that you'd get from packs or from Lore Master. I mean, the point is that it would get people to want to garden. And if they were to add this into the game, then maybe they'd add it around spring. That would be probably the perfect time, spring or summer. Update. Wiz, maybe I don't know. I think this would be pretty lit. Now, as far as other things that I would want to see them add into the game related to spells, I want to see more diversity. You know, just I want more updates that are just random spells and random additions to the game that change up the meta. What really keeps a lot of games alive is the fact that the companies that run those games know how to innovate and constantly change and keep the game unique and different. And there is a huge PvP community for Wiz. Not as much anymore because a lot of people left the PvP community after they weren't seeing that many changes. However, there's no secret that if any part of Wiz is the most flourishing or just the most hype one, is PvP. I enjoy PvP, and mostly everyone else who is just like not a mainstream person who just plays Wiz for the questing enjoys PvP. And I think if Wiz wants to keep the longevity of the game, that they will continue switching it up, adding unique spells out of nowhere. You don't have to only update the game whenever there's a massive world coming, or there's just a new dungeon that you're gonna give us, or just new graphics, and that's it, nothing else but that particular feature. I think that you should add little things. I mean, Wiz does a lot of hot fixes, which is basically a small update every now and then, and it's when they need to fix a glitch or add a little thing. And we've even seen it recently when they've added like a new pack, or they added the Crowns event system. They do a small update. They didn't change everything or add a new world, but they still added something. And I would love to see something like that for spells. Do a small little update and then just tweet about it and be like, hey guys, there is a new spell out that you can go train, or that you can go farm for, or that you can garden and have a chance of getting. It is not hard for Wiz to make new spells. I mean, all it takes, the hardest part is just making the animation for the spell. But if it's a utility spell, that's even easier. You don't have to make an animation for a utility spell. It would probably take them like a few days tops to make new spells like that. And again, if it's a spell like Harvest Master, then yeah, it'd take them a little bit to make the animation and stuff, but still, that is really easy for Wiz to do. And honestly, what I'd personally love to see is KingsIsle just releasing new spells out of nowhere, being like, hey guys, there's a new spell, go get it. Other games, they release new weapons, they release new abilities every week, every few weeks, every month or so, and then they announce it. And I think that I would love to see that from Wiz, going on to the launcher and seeing in the news section that there is a new spell for us to get. And Harvest Master, anything like that that you get from gardening would be a great first step in the right direction if Wiz wants to experiment with making more of these lore spells. And again, I want them to change up the meta, switch things up, add different types of magic that makes the combat unique. Bounce back, like I said, on this spell where it bounces back some of the damage to the enemy. Not a lot, just like 25%. Make people adapt, make them change, make them have to use different gear, different strategies, different types of pets. I'm tired of people only using double resist, triple damage pets, or ward pets in PvP. Make somebody for some reason have to make a stun resist pet, or have to make a attack on everyone Maycast pet. There are unique pet talents out there like that, but people don't go for them because they think they're trash, because they're not useful. Well, if there was a spell like this, like the bounce back, then maybe people would go for a Maycast Tower Shield pet, more often, because they would want to have a chance at having more shields on themselves, but they want to hit, but they don't want to hit and then risk taking damage back. It would just add a lot of unique things. But that's pretty much all I've got to say about this little idea, and I think that KingsIsle should definitely consider this, and any other ideas that people come up with. It doesn't just have to be ideas from me. I think it would be lit if they just add anything that the community is coming up with. But yeah, I'm really psyched about this idea, Harvest Master in particular, so I would love to see something like this added to the game. Definitely make sure to drop a like if you guys would want to see Wiz add this. Let's go for 100 likes if you want to see the addition of gardening lore spells in the game. And that's all I've got to say. If you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to sub, and other than that, I will catch you on the next one. Keep it 5.